Hello there, Evie here. Welcome to an update video for things that have been going on in the background as well as things to come in the future with regards to clearing up certain things from previous videos, preparing things for future videos, and what we've got coming up. So first things first, I'm going to be actually separating a couple of these topics into different videos, mainly the Overclockers UK and Noctua NF A9X14. Those will go into one video themselves. I'm not comparing the two of those at all, only very slightly in terms of their responses, or lack of responses, let's say. So we're going to be throwing those into a different video. I might add a card. Don't know, probably forget. But yeah, we also have the Mastercase Pro 3 temps and then upcoming videos. Hopefully this video will be below 10 minutes so that we can keep things consistent and, you know, good for you guys. So first things first, the Mastercase Pro 3 temps. We did a build in the Mastercase Pro 3, which we did on Twitch. Oh, and this thing is heavy. Can you get the picture. So yeah, we did a build on Twitch, and I've actually managed to test it now after finishing off the NF A9X14 fan, which works very well and doesn't have any negative benefits or negative issues created by painting it. You can check that on the top right hand corner if you really want to. So the Mastercase Pro 3, you can see the as it comes test results here, or now, sorry for the noise. Yeah, basically as it comes test is as it comes. So if the case that I get has fans in it, then we'll be testing it with those fans. If it doesn't have fans with it, we will not be testing it with any fans for the as it comes test. Now, this tested actually pretty damn well. It comes with two 140mm very cheap fans. Now, by very cheap fans, I mean cheap enough to have the name of it being the A14025-12CB-3BN-F1. So that's the name of the fan. Clearly, it's just an off-brand, or not off-brand, but you know what I mean. It's just a cheap fan they throw in the cases for the sake of throwing something in. They're pretty quiet. They're 140mm fans, which are generally pretty quiet anyway. They're not very well made, but they do go very slow, which is fantastic. You can actually make out the fan blade spinning in the video footage I've captured of it, which looks pretty damn cool. And yeah, they cool pretty well. Now comparing that to the maximum performance test, which is where we throw in as many Noctua, as many VADA 2,200 RPM fans. I can't remember which one they're called. They're F4 120ER fans. That's the ones. So we throw those in, as many as possible. We throw in this one, in this case, two in the front, 120mm fans, by the way. Two in the front to be a good intake. We had one at the top and we had one at the rear. We didn't put one at the top front. We put one at the top rear, because the one at the top front really doesn't have much benefit at all. In fact, it has negative impacts in a lot of cases. If you have it as an intake, then it'll end up directing air away from the CPU cooler, which is no good for the CPU, which I found in testing with the Hyper 212 Evo in previous case tests. And if you have it as an exhaust, then it just extracts air too quickly out of the case before it has a chance to even really get past the RAM and do a lot of cooling there. So I completely negated the top front fan. As far as I'm concerned, top front slot is only there for water cooling. That's a great slot if you just want to get maximum CPU cooling performance or GPU cooling performance, or your just general loop cooling performance, depending on how you set up your loop. So yeah, top front fan, water cooling, not really for air cooling as far as I'm concerned. So we're negating that. That's just a decision I'm making on my part, and I suppose there's probably going to be a couple of people who have an issue with that, and if you do, then I encourage you to not have an issue with it. So anyway, the testing results for the maximum cooling test actually has it competing with the test bench, and actually has it throwing some punches at the test bench, pretty hard ones at that, knocking a couple of degrees off the test bench delta T results. Now, I'm chalking that down to the fact that we have only got on the test bench the Noctua NF A9X14 powering the CPU cooling performance situation. We haven't got any external fans that are blowing air into it, and I know that's a problem. I know I need to have external fans blowing in so it can cool the VRMs and the RAM better and that sort of stuff, but I'm a bit of a tool, so I didn't put any in. So if you have any suggestions for any mounting brackets, or like, you know, swan neck style mounting brackets that I can just attach to give that extra cooling, then please let me know in the comments. If not, I'll just find one myself. That's not a problem. But once we get one of those, we will be doing some maximum thermal testing performance stuff with this test bench afterwards to see the difference between no fans there and fans there, and that might be interesting, but it'll be more relevant for the thermal graphs, for the thermal testing result graphs, than anything else. So that's pretty much that. Cheap fans and stuff from the Mastercase Pro 3, but that's what you expect. But it performed very well regardless, with or without. And I think that's mainly down to the low density filters at the front, ones that I prefer. Personally, I think having low density filters to give you better performance than dust management is far more important than having lots of dust management, because I mean, dust really doesn't cause that much of an issue if it's very thin layers, but if it's a really thick layer, which we'll get onto now, then it will cause problems. We have got coming up a dust versus thermals, dust versus performance. I think I called it when I was recording the video, but I'm going to call it dust versus thermals video coming up, where my friend Joe gracefully didn't clean his system for about 3 or 4 years, and we ended up testing its thermal performance with side panels on and off, with it completely dusty as hell, and then we dusted the whole thing out and completely got rid of pretty much 95% of the dust I can imagine, 99% of the dust to be honest, knowing how much there was, and we retested it. And yes, we will have that video coming up in the something future, in the far future, near future, I don't know. I'm not sure whether I'm going to continue holding it back until we get monetized or not, but I will make a decision at some point. We've got plenty of videos to do in the future, or so far, or up until then, or before then. So we have lots of case testing videos. We have this one, which we'll discuss in a second. We have, coming up before that, is the Ryotaro CR280 case testing video, which has been gathering dust. It was mid-test, which was then, or it was mid-build, and then I paused it because I wanted to sort out the NF-A9X14 fan to make it black, so that it had a consistent testing performance across all the case tests I do. So I wouldn't want to test that with a non-painted fan, then turn out there's some sort of performance hit, and then test everything else with a black fan which has a performance hit. It would make the CR280 look better than the other ones than it would otherwise be. So we sorted out the black fan, and now we're going to be testing the CR280 and doing the full review of that very shortly. We also have this Silverstone RVZ03, which looks pretty cool. It doesn't have a side panel window, which is actually a first for this channel, a first testing a case without a side panel window, but it's small, it's thin, it's small form factor, it looks damn cool, and it should be good fun. We also have the long awaited, for probably most people, if I turn it around to the nicer side, the Cooler Master Q300L, which should be a damn cool build because it looks like a damn cool case. Great budget option. It would have been nice to see some tempered glass with that one, to be honest, or a tempered glass option, because it looks like it would be a really easy aftermarket fit. But maybe some people are modding that, which is something which people can do in their own time, which is a good thing. And apart from that, I think that's pretty much us out for those sorts of things. So the case testing things we have initially coming up. We will be doing some cooler reviews as usual, as normal. If you have any suggestions for those, then please let me know and I will do my best to get around to covering those. I will be doing as well, we've still got so many other videos I haven't even written down. We've got the one-arm build. We will be doing a one-arm build to explore the options for people who have only got one arm to build their system, just to see what types of components are more suited to people who are only using one arm to build or one hand to build their system. I think that's a pretty interesting thing to discuss. I think it'd be really cool to do that, and I will be doing that in the future. I actually do need to explore a lot more things, though, a lot more cases, a lot more CPU coolers and things like that, to get a hands-on feel as to what I should use for that sort of thing. We're also looking to do some sort of budget build in the future, but I'm holding that off for quite a while. Well, one, because I've got enough to cover as it is, but also because with graphics cards at the moment, it might be a lot better to wait for NVIDIA to release their next set of graphics cards, which looked like it's going to be in about July time. So I'll wait until then, but I got plenty to get on with until then. We're also looking to do a build up a mountain at some point, which will be quite fun. Myself and my mate Joe will probably end up doing that, and he can probably do most of the heavy lifting. Cheers, Joe. No, I'm joking. So we'll end up doing that at some point. I'm also looking to do some sort of sleeper build, but not a traditional sleeper build, something a little bit more sleepery than your standard sleeper build. So I'll look to do that. And the funny thing with sleeper builds is that they're kind of obvious, because you look at it and you think, okay, you look around at the monitor and you're like, oh, the monitor's a pretty decent monitor, the keyboard's some pretty cool keyboard, and then you have this sleeper build next to it, which is like, okay, that obviously not. So I'm thinking of something a little bit potentially more discreet than that, but it might require a lot of manual labor to get it sorted. So I'll let you know of anything of that coming up in the future if I do go down that road, but I'm certainly looking into something like that. And yes, I think that's pretty much it on my list. I will be doing an update on the Noctua situation and the Overclockers UK situation, and hopefully this will have, sorted all of that out for now. So I've sorted out the thermals for this piece and for the Mastercase Pro 3. One thing on the thermal results actually is that Hitman has started throwing shade. And I don't like it when Hitman throws shade at the best of times. Basically, when I initially tested Hitman, it was showing FPS of about 90 FPS. And then when I retested it now, it's showing FPS of about 110 frames per second. And that is annoying and irritating, and I might have to drop the FPS, the performance aspect from that test, if I'm going to continue using that test for the future, because we did our CPU cooler roundup with it in the original 90 FPS bracket. But the thermals are relatively trustworthy to look at, so I might just leave it at that. But anyway, there aren't any thermal throttling situations going on in that anyway, so the performance really shouldn't have any sort of hit. I think there was potentially some sort of update with Steam or something that's caused that issue. I haven't actually updated the graphics driver since then, so I don't really know. But it does test strangely with the micro ATX motherboard and with the ATX motherboard, so it's not an ATX or micro ATX motherboard issue. So that's it. So I'm gonna go now. I think I've been recording now for like 15 minutes. It's probably gonna be easily a 12-minute video. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and this is the helped your cravings for a video from this channel. Why would you crave this video? It's a bit of a strange one. Anyway, so I'll catch you in the next one, which will be the CR280. Actually, no, it's going to be the update on the Noctua NF-A9X14 and the Overclockers UK situation. I'll see you then. Thanks, bye.